Hey, we're back over on YouTube. Dropped a bit there with some technical difficulties. Are we back? Are we? Yes, we are back. All right. Thank you for being here. Welcome back. All right, we look good there. We good. Yes, so where were we on Tanticams? I fully agree with what she's saying here. If Mrs. Prasad Bisesa actually goes through with what she's suggesting here, these are things that people in Trinidad and Tobago have been begging for and lamenting about for decades. Ghost workers coming to work, signing the book and going home by 10. If workers cannot give an honest day's work, she will cut funding. Listen, this will be glorious. It will be beautiful. I think it would save a lot of money in the country. Lots of wastage happens just by these kind of activities. The thing is though, I don't think every administration that passed before left it that way just because they enjoyed it being that way. I think there are lots of feathers to be ruffled on the way to changing that arrangement. It's not just the workers. It would be the foreman, the supervisor, going all the way up the chain. And then, if the workers can't take a drink and play cards and leave by 10 o'clock, what's gonna happen when the counselor asks them to come home by him and do the work when he have a event holding? Oh, you all know that, right? The workers home by this counselor and that counselor. The borrow equipment doing work on this counselor garden and that counselor farm. So you're gonna stop all of that too? Because if you telling me I can play a little all fours and sit down and chill in the morning, and you trying to tell me I had to walk all this walk thing, well, everybody had to walk on it. It can't just be me. Everybody had to walk now. And all them corporation back who had to come back in the yard. All the PJ had a cut. There may be contractors in Trinidad that running businesses depending on Borough Corporation resources. Let's sip some coffee to that. So it's similar like we were talking about with the police last night. When you see violence down at the street level and you see police turning a blind eye here and blind eye there, and you know that everybody and the dog know this police is a corrupt officer, this police running that block, how come nobody doing anything about that? Well, nobody wants to touch that, because if you touch that, you have to touch that, which means you have to touch that, which means you have to touch that, and then you're going and end up by that man. And nobody wants to end up by that man. So how about we just don't touch the first domino in the whole chain reaction? Leave that right where it is. And I think personally, to me, I see this over and over in politics. To me, what it looks like happens very regularly in politics is a person with a vision, a person with ideas, great ideas in their head to do things and make changes and be a shaker and a mover. They come into an administration, they go into politics and they want, and then they get into a place of power. And when they get into a place of power and they start, they open this door, they close it back. They open this door, they close it back. They open that door, they close it back. And then they go back to their desk, sit at their chair, and they really understand now why everyone who does this job does nothing in the job and just sits at the chair doing nothing. You understand? Like the running joke is that when a U.S. president wins and gets into power on his first day inside his Oval Office, they slip him across a picture of Kennedy. That's all they do. A representative from the CIA comes in holding a manila folder. Mr. President, this is for you from the CIA. And there's just one thing inside the folder. A picture of Kennedy. Know where your crease is, mark it out good, and bat right deep. And I think Tantikam is going into a kind of area where you could get some of that. So, more power to the Tant if she is serious about, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And as skeptical as I am, there's a part of me with some hope that really and truly what's going on here is Tant's going down in age. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, she just literally is going down in age. And with many people, as they go down in age, they have a kind of less care for the particulars kind of vibe. And if it is, and if it is that she's going down in age and is less caring about all of that business and all of that, then maybe she tackles these things head on and isn't bothered. I kind of have a hope that that's the case. It's an older person with that kind of nothing to lose vibe kind of thing, and they're like, you know what, forget it. Let me do it. That would be such a gift, you know. Instead of these boomers, these older generation people basically holding on to resources and, as it were, cursing the next generation as they exit the earth. How good would it be if someone from their generation could gift us with that? Gift us with the fact that they don't have much to care about. They're around closer to the end of their life. They don't have the same worries that a younger person would. They don't have the same financial insecurities. So they aren't bothered by such things. They can't be affected as easily and go through and bulldoze through and get some of those changes done. This mother of the nation talk. Listen. Police Service Commission to review complaint over Top Cop's Punisher emblem. The Police Service Commission said it will review a complaint from the First Wave movement leader Umar Abdullah, who has asked for disciplinary action against Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara for wearing a Punisher emblem, a comic book symbol linked to vigilante justice while on duty. Abdullah raised concerns after the commissioner was seen wearing the Punisher emblem, a comic book symbol linked to vigilante justice, during official duties, according to his complaint dated July 20th. On August 11th, Dale Brizan, Executive Director, Human Resource Management for the PSC, confirmed the receipt of Abdullah's complaint, adding, the commissioner has noted the contents of the correspondence and will treat with the matter in accordance with the powers provided to the commission in Section 123 of the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. In his complaint, Abdullah said that the use of unauthorized emblems breached regulations designed to maintain professionalism and respect in the police force. He said the Punisher logo represented judge, jury, and executioner values, which could undermine democracy, the rule of law, and public trust in law enforcement. Listen, I don't know if I have too much of a problem with that. Good night, good night, good night. I don't know if I have too much of a problem with that, to be honest. But I think First Wave Movement guy has a very good point. I think he actually has a very good point. Personally, I don't care. Me personally, in opinion, I don't care. But I think his point, there are some, it's kind of sharp. There's a point to his point. Because really and truly, Punisher is judge, jury, executioner. What does a police officer mean by wearing a Punisher logo? At a media conference on July 18, Guevara addressed the Punisher emblem seen on his uniform during recent SWE operations. He said it did not reflect any rogue agenda or vigilante mindset. I am not the Punisher. Let us not be presumptuous and believe that this is the direction we are heading, Guevara said. I want Trinidad and Tobago to feel safe. I do not expect my officers to go out and abuse the public. And if any such reports reach me, I will deal with them directly. But did anyone ask him what the symbol represents to him? What does the symbol represent to you? Like, okay, you're saying it's not about vigilantism, it's not about extrajudicial stuff. What does it represent to you? Probably his favorite comic character. And to me, that would also say something. That would also say something. A police officer's favorite comic book character is a notorious vigilante. That's very interesting. It's like our watcher of crime in Trinidad and Tobago. I remember there was an article about him a good few years ago, and he basically said that who he looks up to, who he really admires, are cartels. Like the mob bosses and the aura and vibe that they give off. That's what he really likes. He likes that vibe. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. The watcher of crime finds criminals to be worthy of emulation to some extent. Okay. But that official TTPS uniform, I have the magazine running. I am curious. Next time a reporter pops up, ask him that. Okay, granted, I am taking it as you say it. There's no suggestion of vigilantism in your use of it. Might we ask, though, what is the suggestion that you are giving with it? Because I'd like to believe that there is some kind of symbolism. You're the top officer in the police and you wear this patch. I would suppose it's more than just for the style. I would suppose. First wave movement, end SOE, return inmates to prison. Listen. Sometimes some of these groups are tedious, to be honest. Some of them tedious. A lot of what they do sometimes I could roll my eyes at. But really and truly, some of these groups are essential. You may be surprised how much some of these groups may be a buffer against certain levels of tyranny slipping in, even as annoying as they might be. End SOE, return inmates to prisons. Head of the first wave movement, Umar Abdullah, has called for an immediate end to the current state of emergency, the closure of all military detention sites, and the return of all inmates to legal civilian institutions. Abdullah made the call at a media conference to reclaim the truth about murder-accused Raji Ali, giving an insight into what he called the injustice, political gamesmanship, and systemic failures threatening democracy in TT. He also called for full transparency into the alleged plot to assassinate two defense attorneys, including names, evidence, and the origins of the so-called intelligence that the police have. We want an independent commission of inquiry into the actions of the police service, the DPP, and the Ministry of National Security, and reinstatement of constitutional protections and respect for the rights of all citizens, including the presumption of innocence. This is not just about Raji Ali. This is about the soul of our democracy. If they can do this to him with no evidence, no trial, no defense, they can do it to any one of us, Abdullah said. There's a point there. If the man isn't found guilty of anything, all of the actions taking place here are just actions of the state. Power actions, power moves, but nothing to do with real justice, is it? And I remember last night we were reading the case of a police officer that took a recording from a home after a bust, and he mixed up the recording. He brought the wrong recording to the court case, and somehow they couldn't find the right recording, and he was freed of that charge. And he also won inside of that charge a lawsuit against the state for unlawful imprisonment. And it seems like he may have been guilty of what they're accusing him of. It's just interesting. Different strokes for different folks, eh? He charged that there was no justification for the SOE, adding that Ali was deemed a suspect in connection with an alleged plot to assassinate defense attorneys. The media conference was held at the same attorney's office. You know, I was overhearing I can't remember which one of the government ministers was speaking, and they were saying that really and truly the proof that what they're saying is true is that now that they move these fellas out of the maximum security prison, look how the crime dry up. And I'm like, do they take us for idiots? You mean in the middle of an SOE? We're boasting about a reduction in murders in the middle of an SOE, like we have in every SOE? Huh? What? Who thought that was something profound? What are we talking about here? SOE threat neutralized. Commissioner of Police dismantling criminal gang. The imminent threat which prompted Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara to approach the National Security Council for a state of emergency to be declared has been neutralized. So stated Guevara while speaking on CCN TV6's Morning Edition program yesterday. According to Guevara, the police response has moved from disruption to the systematic dismantling of an organized criminal gang. He, however, stressed that while the initial phase of the response achieved a disruption of the immediate threat, it was not over. And follow-up actions are now focused on dismantling the organized structure behind it. Guevara said in keeping with this, he personally supervised the removal of inmates from the maximum security prison in Aruca over the weekend to prevent those removed from continuing to communicate with persons on the outside. I would have supervised the removal of some persons. I would have supervised the removal of more persons from the maximum security prison in Aruca and would have taken them to a safe place where they are no longer able to continue communicating with persons on the outside, he said. Once again, the police commissioner did not state how many persons had been moved or where they had been moved to. I have never alluded to how many persons have been moved from the MSP, and I've never mentioned where they were taken to. It was the media who placed numbers, persons, and identities out in the public. I'm still not saying who are those persons. I am simply saying over the weekend more persons were moved, and I will still not say how many or who they are or where they are being kept. Now, if the way for them to undo these criminal plots, it's just the yellow rain, yeah. If the way for them to undo these criminal plots is to move them out of the maximum security prison into military holding where they have no rights basically, what happens when the SOE finishes? And you can no longer hold the men without charge. What happens then? Because nothing so far says anyone was charged, says they gathered evidence to charge anyone. So nothing on the material facts of these cases are changing. The cases against these men remain the same, and after the SOE, you're going to have to return them to status quo. Guevara described the operational logic behind the prison removals. After the leadership was removed, a pseudo-leadership, largely composed of seconds in command, began to take shape, prompting further removals to prevent sequence of command disruption inside the prison system. What I can share is that upon the initial removal of the leadership, what we saw as a pseudo-leadership comprised in the most part of seconds in command, if you will, taking form, and in order for that to be controlled, we had to have a further removal from the prison systems, he said. This is also interesting. This is also interesting. How are you seeing the gang structure forming? When you remove the head, how can you tell the seconds in command took their place? Because tell me if you all follow me here, right? How they lead these gangs. How they lead these gangs is by communicating with the outside. Okay, they remove the leaders, lock down the prison, shut off all of that business. How the second in command is going to take over the gang on the outside? How does he do it? And if you know enough to know that this man is the second in command and he is now in charge of running the gang, how do you know that? And if you know that by knowing how he communicates, can't you also figure out how he got the communication devices? Because this would have had to have happened sometime after you removed the main leaders. during the state of emergency. Is what I'm saying making sense to you all? How does, like, I don't understand how a second in command inside of the prison during an SOE takes up the reins of an outside gang. And you find this out inside of the SOE. How you find this out? And why isn't anyone going to prison for facilitating that? Asked about the necessity of powers granted under the SOE, Guevara defended their use of as enabling law enforcement to treat with the situation. We needed certain powers that the SOE came with in order to assist law enforcement to treat with the situation. So again, I wouldn't want to say too much about it, but my officers are working along with TNT Defense Force, Prison Service, and SSA. We are working in tandem to bring a conclusive result to the entire situation. He said he does not want SOEs to become the routine solution to the problem and called for a lasting coordinated approach. Oh, you don't want that, right? After calling the second SOE in 6 months. Okay, sure. I do not wish, and I will be in this position hopefully for the next 10 to 11 years. I do not wish to be continually going to the government to be asking for SOEs to treat with a problem. So I'd like to utilize this time to put decisive measures in place to treat with this situation once and for all. But it must be a holistic plan to deal with this situation. This would include both the prisons and the situation that exists there, as well as the judiciary as it relates to sentencing and police monitoring and law enforcement, where it all comes together holistically as one to treat with this situation once and for all. That's going to be interesting. The commissioner also addressed tensions between some inmates and their lawyers, saying the lawyers' efforts to secure release had angered clients and exposed attorneys to threats. And then these prisoners are angry with their own attorneys who can't get them out from what they have labeled as Guantanamo Bay to put them back in MSP. I don't know what they have in MSP that they love so much, if it's somebody that they love or something that they love up there, but I would like to keep them away from that environment. And the same attorneys who fighting with them, they are threatening to kill them, and these attorneys seem blinded. I don't know, blind loyalty, but at the end of the day, we shall do what we need to do, and I would have directed my men to do a duty of care and warn these attorneys and tell them, listen, your life is in danger. Take precautionary measures. If they want to listen, they can. If not, that's up to them. And like this interviewer, why didn't you ask the commissioner what evidence you have of these threats? How did you become privy to these threats? How did that happen? And I don't know. Guantanamo Bay isn't a positive thing by and large on the US record, eh? So, to speak as it were, nearly jokingly, about locking people away in a place where they have no rights and where they were not found guilty and sent to, and kind of just saying, I don't know what they love, who they love back up there. I find that to be a bit crass. And I don't know. the prisoners will murder their lawyer because the lawyer can't get them out from an SOE holding facility? Really? Does that suggestion even make sense? Does that even make sense? Tisk, tisk. Here's one way that Tanticams seems to already be doing some of what she promised they do. Licensing Authority launches driver rehabilitation program. The Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation has announced the introduction of the Licensing Authority Drivers Rehabilitation Program. The initiative aims to assist disqualified drivers in regaining their driving privileges while encouraging safer road use. So you sign up for a free training session with the ministry and you go through that and you can get back your license. Here's why that's an important thing and an important change, and maybe evidence of Mrs. Prasad Bisesa actually heading in the direction of removing some power from the elites. Under the last administration, a private company did this. And what's strange about that is that the private company was allegedly linked to the pressure group that was pressuring the government to implement this kind of thing. And every driver then has to pay them to get back their license after going through the process that they pressured the government to implement. Like, for me, on the whole ticketing issue as a whole, here's how that would make sense if you're telling me if I'm supposed to believe that it is about protecting and serving, it is about making the roads safer, it is about maintaining public order and peace. I remember when they first came out with their little game, their ticket Game Boy that they like to walk around with. There were boasts made. There were boasts made that they could record warnings on this device. So, when you see someone with a vehicle infraction, why not give them a warning and a week to fix? And then, after that, you could say, well, a warning is on the system for the same thing. Now you get your ticket. Because at least that would show that your interest is in getting the people to be safer on the road, not just extracting money from them. Yes, Ronnie, yes, themselves. Themselves. You can't convince me it's all caring when there's money to be made on the inside there. I don't buy that at all. I don't buy it at all. Miss out on your award for most tickets. And I find, as a human being, who would maintain a system like that though? What do you mean who would maintain a system like that? With the warning first? The device that prints out the tickets, they boasted when they first got it that these devices can record a warning. So the same people who do the system right now, ensuring compliance to what? Here's an example. an ID light is out on your rear, license plate, there's hardly likely a way that this person knew this. The police happen upon them. Listen unruly, I'm going to tell you. The police happen upon them, see them with the ID light, pull them over and tell them, well, listen, brother, your ID light out. You have to get that fixed. Oh, good officer, I didn't know that, boy. I didn't know that. All right, I'll get it fixed. Well, here's what. We're recording a warning in the system here. You have 2 weeks on this warning notice to fix this problem. If after 2 weeks you're pulled over by another officer and they see this issue, you are going to be issued a ticket for this. And simple like that. So now, if there's a next time when you're pulled over, the officer pulls up, PE, whatever, ID light. Did you get that ID light fit? Alright, well, that ticket coming now. Ticket. Or ID light, beautiful, the ID light is fixed. We could take that warning off the system too. How hard is that? That shouldn't be very difficult. They can give you a warning, they cannot put a time frame, but I don't think that would be a hard thing to program. I mean, it's a program, it's an app. That's very easy to program in. Simple. If they can't do it, ask me. But that's in one instance. What do you mean in one instance? I don't understand what you mean in one instance. What other instance would there be? There are other violations that may need immediate intervention. And of course, if you happen upon someone who is with a DUI, they're driving under the influence. And they're driving recklessly. That doesn't sound like someone that's supposed to have a warning. But that's why we have humans as officers, so that they can use their human understanding and intellect. Even on the bus route, I could see a warning making sense on the bus route, because there are reasons that people could be on the bus route. So, boss, I trying to reach the hospital. Good reason. Boss, I late for work. I don't really do this. Bad reason. But who knows, maybe you get a warning. But then we know when the warning reach the system, the next time they're gonna light you up with a ticket and you could have no complaints. And I think a system like that would, easy like that, you de-escalate the friction that is building between the public and the police. Our police, the TTPS and the general public in Trinidad are not, their relationship isn't on the upward trend. It isn't even on the maintaining the same level. It is on the downward trend. Yes, JM Chris. It's on the downward trend. And I think something like that could really assist it. And it's unnecessary, the level of oppression that we get on our roads, especially when considering how bad our roads are. All in all, Mr. Springer, in my experience, there's work to be done on both sides of the token. I don't even buy that. I don't think there's work to be done on both sides of the token. Like, to me, even some of those road traffic laws that they give tickets for are senseless. Like, okay, yes, there are dangers involved, but what cutoff level should we put in a country like ours? What cutoff level should there be? Like the point I regularly make, many of the things they ticket you for being dangerous in your automobile, in your car, in your sedan, is far less dangerous than all the things that are already legal in a motorcycle. There are no seat belts in a motorcycle, but you're ticketed for a seat belt in a car. Does that make logical sense to you? Do you think that's about keeping people safe? And you know, I'm in closing here, so you know I like to stir the pot a little bit. Many of these problems that we get came from misplaced maternal instinct in politics. Maternal instinct. I don't think maternal instinct and politics mixes well. And misplaced maternal instinct in politics is what gives us seatbelt laws. The whole long list of safety laws. The whole safetyism principle out of governance. Maternal instinct in governance. I don't think that's the place for it. I don't think the government should take my money because I'm willing to risk my life. That's my business. That's my business. You look at the car seat laws. So what you're saying is, if I want a family with more than 3 children, I have to buy a 7-seater. Even, in fact, 3 children alone, 2 car seats, fitting and filling up the back seat. If you make a third, that 3rd car seat isn't going to fit. What? Let me fly out my windscreen like a man. Exactly. If I want to fly out my windscreen, that is my business. We have to ask, is it a government's job to protect citizens against themselves? No, it's not. That's your parents' job. That's your inner circle's job. That's your close ethnic and cultural group job. That's not the government's job. Because that goes into a scary place real quick. There are many things we do that increase the risk to our lives and our health and our safety. From what we eat, to how we dress, to how we behave. Because to me, a government's job is to protect citizens from other citizens. Correct. Correct. That's where the government's duty is to me. That's the balance. And anytime you get into protecting people from themselves, that misplaced maternal instinct, governments become tyrannical and get real dicey. Many people want 2 trillion %. There are many people, and that's what I said, the misplaced maternal instinct. Many people with that misplaced maternal instinct, if they get into politics, they put it in the politics and that's what they want. That's what they want. What you want is to be a mother. Go be someone's mother. Go mother your child. Don't come try to mother an entire nation. Go mother your child. Go tell your child, make sure he wears his seatbelt when he drives. Go tell your child what his diet should be, what he should intake, how he should behave. That's what you do to your child. Your health is not important. Hey, anyway, people, that's all I have for now, folks. I hope you're educated, informed, and entertained. I am Nathan Springer. This has been the Mindful Live. I'll see you guys again for the next one tomorrow. Until then, people, hold it down, stay well, stay good, stay inside, outside, sketchy. Go and find somebody good child. Treat them nice, marry the people, marry them now, and make them an honest person now, and go and make some babies, make her the babies. Populate the country. We need more people out here, more good people. Until the next time, people, laters. Peace. I'm out.